Most drummers think their problem is speed. Beth did not have a speed problem. You see, she'd been playing for years. She could get to around 120 BPM cleanly, and then everything above that felt stiff, tense, and messy. Her ankles would lock up, she'd use her whole body and max it out, putting a lot more stress on her lower back. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what was going wrong, what changed, and how she rebuilt her mid-tempo double bass drumming so it felt fluid and controlled instead of forced. Beth, take me back to before you joined. Like, what was actually happening with your footwork between 130 to 160?
Yeah, when I started, I've been playing drums for a long time, really. And I guess the kind of biggest thing was that I kind of felt that I wasn't progressing. I felt that my technique was wrong. I couldn't really put my finger on it. And so yeah, it really was that everything was kind of stiff and not really working, not really flowing very well. So yes, having played drums for a lot of years, it's one of those things where you think, right, I've just got to kind of unpack and go back to sort of first principles again. So yeah, that's kind of where I was when I first started. Yeah, kind of getting up to around about 120 clean, and then everything else was just a mess after that. And like I say, just kind of grinding through it. That's not good. That wasn't working. And I guess I needed somebody to kind of unpack the bad habits that I'd picked up over years of drumming. I guess it's always harder to unprogram stuff that you've learned than learn stuff afresh. So I
Yeah.
guess that was the biggest challenge that I had, really. Yeah.
Okay, so was there like specifically where was the tension? Because you'd mentioned there was a little bit of that. Where was that happening?
Yeah, it was all in ankles, really. So very quickly, working with you, I realized that my ankles were almost rigid. So I was using a lot of leg, and I was kind of just sort of mashing on the pedals. So the faster I wanted to go, the more of my kind of body I needed to put into it, the more stress it was putting on my back and limbs. And it's just it maxes out. You can't really get anywhere else from that. This kind of you're fighting physics by that point, and it's just not getting. So yeah, it was all ankles. So very quickly I started to kind of work on that with the exercises, and yeah, that was the kind of biggest change that I've been uh, performing is kind of unprogramming that and unprogramming the kind of the muscle memory,
Yeah.
and that approach, to get much more fluid, flexible feel to my legs.
So then when that was happening, you know, what did you think it was? Like we feel this tension in our footwork, but was it like strength? Was it endurance? Was it the practice, like the amount of practice?
Yeah, I think it was probably endurance, and there's a lot in the kind of accuracy side of things because, like I say, you could when I was a lot younger, I would just kind of sort of smash through a little bit and sort of push as hard as I could. But I'm kind of conscious that's not very good approach. So yeah, very quickly you start to burn out.
Mhm.
And so I guess, yeah, endurance was really the thing. I think ironically I was using too much strength and not enough technique, and that's the kind of biggest change that I've made, I guess.
Yeah, and when you were working towards being more efficient with that, at what point did you realize like something had to change?
Really quickly, actually. Yeah, as soon as I started to work on the exercises, obviously, I that's part of the course was to explain these things, and that was, part of the sort of exercises. But yeah, as soon as I started to work on that, it was quite actually it was much more challenging than I thought it was going to be to actually reprogram those legs. Like I say, I just kind of, you rely on muscle memory, and so yeah, it was quite a challenge to kind of get that more flexibility. But now it feels like it's much more natural now. That's been the biggest kind of sort of thing that I focused on, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, more fluidity where it seems like
Mm.
it's not forced or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, it kind of I suppose also the kind of connection with the pedals has completely changed as well. So previously it was using weight to kind of push them out of the way, and then that was it. Whereas much more now, I feel much more balanced with the pedals. So there's a kind of relationship there that that we're kind of moving in and out together rather than just sort of pushing them out the way. So yeah, I think that's kind of using a bit less strength, but using well, not using less strength in the full picture, but maybe using less strength to actually make the stroke, and using more strength just to kind of support the technique, and that's kind of been a big thing to work on. Yeah.
So then, like when we started working together, it's been a year already.
Mm. Yeah.
Again, like we've gone
Yeah.
over a
Yeah.
little bit. Like what realization did what did you realize was not necessarily wrong, but just not as efficient, like where you hadn't seen that before in your playing?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the evidence is there that I was kind of maxing out, or at least kind of losing accuracy. It was all kind of falling apart at sort of higher speeds, and so yeah, I think really yeah, that was that there's a kind of core issue, and so okay, there's plenty of exercises you can kind of work on to improve speed, but I think what I really benefited from was that kind of reset and that analysis of what I was doing. A bit like if you're running, you can get like a sort of analysis on your cadence and your position, and so that's been a huge kind of change, I think. So yeah, I think the physical reset and some good practices for improving that was a really a powerful thing for me. So yeah.
Like, is there a specific cue or something that you could remind yourself where things became a little bit more clear?
Yeah, I think it was actually reasonably soon. So maybe a little bit of time in. I think since then I've just been trying to unprogram, as I say, my kind of natural inclination, which has taken a while, but actually I kind of feel it is totally changed. So pretty quickly, obviously you'd caught that my ankles were frozen stiff, and it feels completely different. It feels much more relaxed. There's a kind of a sort of much more of a pleasant feeling playing the bass now. So yeah, so I think it was quite a quick thing that was diagnosed, if you like.
You'd mentioned that a lot of your movements were, and you'd been playing for a while, a lot of those movements
Mm,
were ingrained and were cemented
mm,
in, so that poses a challenge on its own, and that's quite common.
mm. Yeah, yeah.
Where are you now with that? Like, how does that feel when you put that in context of, let's say, music? You play out a little bit as well. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
you can elaborate
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, of course. So the I hoped you were going to ask me this because when I first started, I thought, yeah, we'll do this for a while and I'll just, kind of add another 20, 30, 40 BPM on top of my maximum, and that was it. But I think that was what I realized during the process, was that that's the wrong goal. The goal isn't to just add an extra 10, 20, 30 BPM. It is to have a technique which kind of supports that. So I kind of, after a while, I'd kind of pivoted into getting the technique right. And I think again, I was kind of fighting this kind of learned, this kind of the muscle memory and the kind of the patterns in my brain that had formed over this period of time. So yeah, it is true that I've increased my top speed, but I think that's something that now I don't think is that important, or was that important really. I think now it's a much more kind of fluid feeling, and I think that kind of underpins all the rest of the process. So instead of just trying to max out speed, just add speed. Instead I've got a much more uh, a much better technique, which allows me to kind of push into those kind of speeds. But it not only is it just about those outcomes, but it actually it feels much better as well. So even as as a drummer, we're all getting older, and so we need to look after each other, and ourselves. But we
Mhm.
need to look after ourselves physically, and putting that extra effort in, I think, maybe isn't sustainable in the long term. So it's given me a much more different approach to playing this very familiar part of the drum kit I've played for since I was 12. So I think, yeah, the outcome that I thought, or just add some speed to it, wasn't the real outcome, and the real outcome is much more fundamental and much more important than that, I think. So
That's great. That's great. And it's been showing up in your playing as well, like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think uh, I have a few songs that I play with my band that that has some faster pieces. I've been kind of tracking some, or doing some streaming as well, and recording some stuff, and it feels excuse me, it feels much more stable, and it's got, the technique that I have now is a much more I have that kind of speed, not only just raw speed, just kind of grinding out a pattern, but more of that kind of accuracy and shorter bursts, and even just sort of singles doubles kind of thing. My
Yeah.
technique has changed a lot, and it also has the effect of sort of freeing up the rest of me. So rather than just putting a lot of solidity and weight in my legs, then actually I can move around a lot more, and so it sort of impacts the rest of my kind of physiology as I'm playing the drums too.
In terms of like how you feel, maybe as how you see yourself like with your drumming, like do
Mm.
you feel like you have more confidence with your approach to the kit, like more control, you know? How do you
Yeah,
feel about that?
yeah, for sure. I think you reach plateau, reach a lot of plateaus, as you'll know, throughout your sort of drumming career. There is, the first kind of ramp that you need to get up to actually just sit behind the kit, and then you kind of stay, plateau for a bit, and then you improve and improve. And I think this year has been one of those real ramps up. So I think, in truth, I'm right in the middle of that process as well. So I don't think I don't think, oh yeah, done a year, that's me done. I'm sailing away. I think it's really exciting to get a new approach, especially when you've been playing for a while. You kind of sit down and you just grind through some stuff. But actually having some new things to explore, new ways of doing things, has been really kind of revitalizing as well. So yeah, I think it's given me a completely different way of approaching this quite simple but complex part of the drum kit, and that's what I'm working on now. So I'm still exploring that and still working on that, putting in some faster kind of doubles, and working on that side of things as well. So yeah, the outcome was a lot different to what I thought it would be. I thought it would be, previously I'd done exercises, drills, that kind of thing, but actually this has kind of reset a lot of the way that I play the drums, which is really exciting. It's really exciting for the future.
Oh, that's great. From your perspective, and through your lens, who do you feel like something like this would actually be for?
Well, I think, if I'm honest, that it's applicable to everybody, but I suppose it depends on how much you want to kind of work on that technique. I think anybody that's taking it even reasonably seriously, I think you can busk through a lot of stuff. You can have bad technique and get through a lot of stuff, and it's that if that works for you, that's absolutely fine. I'm not saying people have bad technique, but if they don't spend time improving that technique, then they can still play drums completely well. But I think the difference is that I've discovered a much better approach for me, and this is because I play drums because I want to be as good as I can, and so anybody who's kind of following the same sort of process, or following the same sort of path as I have, of trying to improve that and constantly improving. Like I say, I'm not a beginner, but in this sense, I was a beginner, And so anybody that's kind of, wanting really at any level, you might be, kind of approaching double bass for the first time, that would be the best time to do it, probably. That old proverb of the best time to plant a tree was 40 years ago, second best is now. That I wished I'd done this when I was 12, or maybe a little later when I picked up double bass. But the second best time to do that is now. And so yeah, I wanted to. I was conscious that there was something that wasn't working for me. And so maybe with other people there's something not working for them, or they've tried a bunch of different things, bunch of different techniques, and sort of maybe need that guidance to kind of focus on something that actually works for them. That's maybe so. Yeah, maybe it would suit everybody, but I suspect that there's going to be some people who feel like they want to improve that their practice and their approach to the drums. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Beth didn't need more speed drills. She needed to fix the way her feet interacted with her pedals. And once the technique and the timing were reset, the speed became a byproduct instead of a goal. If you're stuck between 130 and 170 BPM, things technically work, but they feel kind of tense and unreliable. That's exactly what I diagnose in the hybrid zone diagnostic. There's a link for that below in the description if you want me to take a look at your playing the same way.